Board games, it's what I'm talking about. Board games, I'm not gonna shout. I am starting off this streaming with a little bit of singing, and over around me you will see some wonderful people. 1, 2, 3, and myself, I guess, if you called me wonderful. But there is Alan Paull, who is moderately tall. Alan has designed several games for many years now, and they have a bunch of names. Jess has been working for a few companies and doing community management and things like these. Ellie is doing publishing and has a cracker box that's been coming. Board games and holiday games, it's what we're talking about. Holiday games now, I'm not gonna shout. Hey, good morning, everyone.
Hooray. Hello.
Morning.
Hello, and hello, Xate. It is lovely to see you. As always, I am Bez. It is, I don't even know what time it is.
Bath
Let's
time.
just wave our hands and just call it bath time. This is what we decided to stick with for the next 100 episodes. It was done by, I don't want to call it by public votes. It was Alex suggested it. No one said that's terrible. And I was like, okay, that sounds interesting. Let's go with that. Anyway, bath time. We have had someone literally in the bath, and we are going to be, and hello, Alan. And yep, we are starting at 10:01 as always, says Xate cheekily. We are going to be talking about holiday games. Now, it was Jess who kind of suggested this topic of let's talk about what we play. But then at the same time, I was kind of talking to Alan and Ellie about, hey, let's talk about making holiday-themed games. And it was like these two topics, they coincided. So it's why do we make games based around, Christmas or Halloween or any other time of year? And why do we play them? I mean, what's this all about? I mean, yeah, so hopefully
we play games when we're on holiday. What a ridiculous idea.
And Alan says that they are listening whilst jogging in the park. Ooh, that sounds quite exciting. Well done. I mean,
yeah.
You better sing again, members. You better keep the beats going. Keep singing.
Beats. 2 hours of beats. There we go.
Jog, Alan, jog, Alan. And hello, Nicholas. And it is. Yep, I'm honestly impressed with the Twitch app that they've got on your mobile phone and how much it lets you do, in terms of all the listening. But let's introduce everyone, and if we can go round clockwise from myself and talk a little bit about yourself, and also briefly talk about recent highlights, living life and seeing the sights, recent highlights, playing games and other delights. Talking about you and recent highlights.
My name is Alan Paull. I am a game designer for some company or other. It's not as if I've got anything in the background that suggests where I'm from. It's from Surprise Tag Games. And I've been doing game design and playing for years, lots and lots of years. Recent highlights. Well, last weekend, Charlie, my wife, and myself went to Notorious Consequences, which is a freeform convention, which was held virtually. And it worked really, really, really well. Charlie played a couple of freeform games, which is good, and I mainly did board games because we Charlie and I normally run a board game library. And this time, not only did we run a board game library, we didn't even have to have our own board games there. So instead of bringing about 100 games in the car, we actually had access to the whole world of board games. It was fabulous. So we could play things that we don't normally play. So yeah, we met loads of our friends on there. It was just great. I actually managed to get a game of Soul Keen in as well, which was quite fun. Good fun game. And we played lots of fairly light social games as well. Things like Zex Nymt, and we played a bit of Carcassonne. We played Coloretto. Yeah, quite a few short games as well. It was great. Yeah. And thank you to anybody who was there. Thank you very much for a fabulous weekend.
That does sound delightful, and yeah, keeping up those traditions. It's what it's all about.
I love that event. I normally go to that event in person each year, so I didn't go to the online one this week, recently, but I do go to the physical ones. So I'm looking forward to that next year as well. It's good fun.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll move on to mine. My name is Jessica Hancock. I work in the tabletop games industry with several jobs. I used to own a board game cafe, but now I work for EM Publishing, which is an independent indie RPG company. So we do What's Old is New system, and our license we currently have is Judge Dredd in the Worlds of 2000 AD. Rogue Trooper is coming out this week, just saying. And I also work for Longpack Games, who are a board game manufacturer. So a lot of the board games in your collection might have been made by us at Longpack. And as my third job, and this is the new exciting thing, I used to work for Alley Cat Games, but I had a fixed term contract which came to an end. So now I'm moving and I'm going to be working for Meat Max Games. So that is my new recent exciting thing as well. And I'm very excited about that because we have a brand new holiday themed game coming out. It's a digital board game. It can be played entirely remotely or online, and we're giving it away for free for Christmas. So that is my first job, is to give away a free digital board game. So Bez has shared the website here. So if you go to that website, the link Bez has put there, and you click to sign up, you can get your free digital board game, and it's a reindeer racing game. It's really light and casual, so it's good for the whole family. You know, the kids can play, you know, older people in your family that aren't necessarily gamers can play. And it's basically just designed to get you all talking and interacting with each other. It's designed by Ricky Tata, who did Coup and The Chameleon. So it is actually, there's a game in there. And that's what I'm doing. So that's my most exciting new thing.
Very cool. I'm Ellie Dix. I am a board game designer, and I run the Dark Imp, which is a board game publishing company specialising in games for families with children aged 8 and up. I've done quite a lot of different games, from kind of games in quite big boxes to games that are stocking full of games, you know, like games on coasters and things like that. Good for stocking fullers at the moment. They're going really a lot on the shop. But I also have created some cracker games. So this is games in a giant cracker. These were on Kickstarter in September, and they have been going like hotcakes. It's all plastic free, and there's 6 different games you play with the same components, and the idea is that you play them, you know, that you pack them away in with your Christmas decorations each year, and then you get them out, you put the cracker on the tree, maybe you put it on the coffee table, you might play a few times and then play on Christmas Day around the turkey and the trimmings. 6 different games, and the wherewithal to sort of make your own games with the components. If you back the Kickstarter, you would have got the Dark Imp Design Challenge booklet, which Bez has contributed to, which has got lots of different ideas for you to make up your own games with the components inside the crackers. So that's a sort of bit of background. Recently, I have been playing, because I haven't done very much, to be honest, apart from sort of just managing orders and stuff and playing games at home, you know, within lockdown. But I've been playing Praga Kaput Regni, which is the new Suchi, and it's excellent. I've been really enjoying it. Really good game.
That does sound awesome. And so, yes, in the comments, do feel free to tell us what are your recent highlights and what's going on with you. And I see that Xate mentioned that they have 2/3 of their new bicycle and are hoping that the rest of it arrives tomorrow, and so it can be put together soon. So yeah, that's pretty awesome, and congratulations. Celebrations, I guess. I mean, congratulations seems a bit wrong. That feels like, hey, you've managed to wait and survived. You know what? Maybe congratulations are in order. Yeah, congratulations, you managed to survive the past few months whilst waiting for your bike to arrive. But yeah, it's been a long time coming. So there we go. Just the way it had to make its way around the world. We've been hearing about that. And anyone else who wants to share anything, feel free to go ahead. But in the meantime, we're going to be talking about brilliant thing. Here's little thing, which is brilliant. And I thought we would talk about holidays, or not holidays as such, not like taking time off, but annual traditions, because that's really what we're talking about. Whether it's birthdays, even if you're working on it, it's like whether it's okay celebrating birthday like every 1st of August, or you know,
Yay.
and or Christmas or Nowruz or anything, or whatever you kind of personally celebrate, whether it's Ramadan or, you know, your anniversaries. I mean, why are these things so delightful and so important, those annual traditions? Ellie, how would you big up annual traditions?
I think it just gives you it gives you a marker, doesn't it, in your otherwise, you know, otherwise days just sort of all become similar. But this is times to sit and think back on the previous year and the previous several years and the year to come. And having moments when the family comes together, particularly Christmas, I think, for me anyway, particularly Christmas, it's a chance to, you know, have your sort of brand as a family, I think. You know, what is it that you do? What's special about that day for you? And it doesn't matter what other families are doing, and different families work in different ways. What's important on those days is what happens for you, and it's something to connect you to the family, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think our situation is slightly different because Charlie and I have just retired tail end of last year. It meant that we are kind of redeveloping traditions, if that makes any form of sense. Mm-hmm. Because I mean, what we have done in the past, obviously, is use an annual holiday. Our tradition is to have an annual holiday in the summer to have a break from work, and we would often try and synchronize that with one or two of our close family units. So because we live quite close to our two daughters and their families, so we have usually tried to arrange to go away together. So it's an opportunity in our annual holiday to go away, maybe on a walking holiday. That's what we've been trying to do. Now that we're retired, we're kind of revisiting those kinds of traditions and trying to work out the best way to do those that fits in with our new freedom, if you like. Well, before COVID came along, when we all didn't have it, and so we're still kind of working on what this new tradition of going away together might be. We virtually always get together at Christmas. Our big tradition is that we all 8 of us would usually get together at Christmas, and we kind of usually come to our house, or sometimes go to Vic's, or sometimes go to Jen. But that's our tradition, was usually to do that. So we're kind of hoping to do something similar to that this year, but obviously socially distance and things like that. But our big thing now, I don't know if it's because we're older, but our big thing now is actually going on walking holiday. So walking together is what we tend to do now, which is great. It's really good. Yeah. We like it. And we go to various parts of the UK usually and just go for a walking holiday. And that's a bit of a tradition.
Yeah, Django, my dog, would love that. He might want to come with you next time. Sounds like his idea of fun. For me, I love Christmas and the holidays. Similar to Ellie, it's a lot about family for me. My family, my dad was in the military, so we moved around a lot. Every 6 months to 2 years, we'd be moving house. So that's meant growing up in about 10 different places. So as a family, we didn't have traditions in like the same place or the same environment, but we had always the same things we did every year, and we were always together. And it's kind of escalated now to like 5 days before Christmas, there is the same stuff that we do. So it's silly things like 4 days before Christmas, my mum will cook a gammon up and we'll have that for dinner, and then we'll have that as cold cuts the next few days. And then, you know, Christmas Eve, we have a rule where no one does any cooking. So we just have like leftovers and a buffet because there's all the cooking going on Christmas. So yeah, I think for me, it's a big thing is about the family being together and all these little traditions. And just like Ellie was saying, it's about your family's brand and the things that you do, because everybody, you know, celebrates differently and also for different reasons. Because I know that Christmas is obviously a Christian-based holiday, but I think a lot of people that celebrate it aren't Christians as well. And it's just something they do for a winter festival fun sort of thing, as well as all the other, you know, winter holidays that you get for different religions as well. So, but yeah, so I think it's a lot about family really, and that's the thing that combines everyone, no matter what your beliefs are or what you're celebrating. It's about spending time with people you care about and doing something nice.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, we are a very narrow spectrum of the global community. I mean, we all live on the same small island.
Yeah.
I mean, just for the record, I grew up in Scotland and now I'm living in England. I think that if all three other people here are basically completely English.
I'm Welsh, but British.
Oh, sorry,
yeah.
Jess. Well, yeah,
I have
basically
an
like
English accent, so I'll forgive you. It's deceptive. Yeah.
I mean, you grew up on the same island, but then you kind of came to England for whatever reason. For whatever reason, people might do this.
Yeah.
And oh, hello. I don't know who this is. Cal Phillips, who specifically says hello, Alan. So no hello to anyone else.
Oh.
But
well, there we go.
But I mean, for me, I agree with you all that. Firstly, Christmas is a big thing for my family, even though I'm first generation British. Like my mum and dad, they do have a British passport, but they came over from Iran. And so, but because Christmas is a time that you get off, and it's like, okay, Christmas is a time off, everyone at school is off. And so it is literally a holiday. And so it's more than an annual tradition. It's a time when people tend to have time off and be able to be with their family or children. And so when I was growing up, it wasn't a big gift-giving occasion, but we did always have the meal. We always had the turkey because, you know, my family is very food-orientated. And growing up, you know, I learned how to cook particular things. And hello, Elaine, it's lovely to see you and joining us. We're just talking about why annual traditions are brilliant, so feel free to chime in with your own thoughts. But I just want to acknowledge that in other places, you know, that's right outside of the UK, for sure, Christmas might not be a thing for you. And a lot of what we're talking about could be applied. We're going to touch a little bit upon Halloween and birthdays and stuff like that. But like, there is, obviously everyone talks about their own experiences, right? And we don't want to minimize whether you celebrate Hanukkah or Eid al-Nowruz or anything else, or, you know, the winter's a time of nothing much happening. But for me, I think the reason that I like annual traditions is, like Ellie said, it punctuates the year. It gives you something to look forward to. I mean, we look forward to saying, okay, this time we're going to be able to do this. It's that anticipation. It's that time of being able to, oh, Carl, thank you so much for who kind of chimed in with hello to everyone else. And yeah, but it's like gives think like when we went to Essen, Alan, do you remember this, that you told me about the crisp and biffy tradition?
Oh yes. Well, we have a yes. Well, because we've been going to Essen for 20 years, isn't it? Something. And we go over by car because we're taking this stuff with us for the stand, and every year we would stop at one of the first service stations in Belgium, usually somewhere, and we would always have the most unhealthy lunch that we could think of, which is basically a large packet of crisps each, and they're called Biffy.
It's a
salami
sticks,
thin sausage, salami sausage thing. So we'd have that, and that would be it. No, it wouldn't be anything else. It would just be a massive packet of crisps and a Biffo, isn't it? Biffo? Biffy. Oh, Charlie's here. Yes, it's Biffy. Yeah, and I've got you've got choice there. You see, you can have the Biffy spicy or the Biffy not spicy. Nowadays, they've actually changed. You can have different types. So yeah, it's just as unhealthy, fortunately. And then that was a kind of precursor to the other tradition which we always had at Essen. Every day, we would take advantage of the absolutely wonderful bakeries here around Essen, and we would have these massive walnut cakes for breakfast with syrup and things on them, and maybe there's a bit of flour in there somewhere to hold it together. And they were just fabulous. So like they were so big. I'm not sure they're really meant for one person, but we would generally have one each.
It's
and that would be like
swirly cinnamon things that those. On a stick. In a bag. They're in a bag.
Yeah. No, the cakes. You want to go to the cake? The cakes.
Well, next time.
Dobber cakes. Yeah, they would.
And then the annual end of Essen meal and building up these traditions. Yes. And in a way,
they're all good.
Like conventions themselves could be considered like an annual holiday. And when I think of that, I think of, wow, we should also, like, I guess games based on conventions and board
games. To be fair,
I
had forgotten that of course, I mean, technically speaking, going to Essen for us isn't a holiday because we're actually theoretically working, but it feels more like a holiday. And it is definitely a tradition that we all want to do.
I mean, my dad used to work on Christmas Day all the time because my dad's a doctor, and sometimes you get the day off, sometimes you don't. There's been times when working in a supermarket, for sure, my holidays, my weekends don't match with other people, but you still do something. So it might be okay. My mom spends lots of time cooking, and the first time that my mom was like, okay, here's the Jamie Oliver DVD on how to cook Christmas dinner this year, you're responsible for it, Berhus. And then, because that's how you say Joan in 4C means kind of like darling, or person that I cherish. So it would be Ellie Joan or Alan Joan, if I wanted to be, express some degree of love. But anyway, or Jessica June, I just do not leave you out.
Thanks.
But or everyone else. But anyway, the point is that I felt so much pride in like being able to prepare this turkey and handmade cranberry sauce and all the things. I didn't go with the fish that Jamie Oliver also suggested. It's like, whoa, that's a bit too much. Like not only the turkey and the veg and the cranberry sauce, but also a fish. We've never had a fish, don't eat. But having that, and it's, even though the family's away, I think we've gone off the topic of why it's brilliant. And I think ultimately, it's brilliant because it connects us with the past. It gives us something to look forward to in the future.
Well, we've got grandchildren now, so we're developing traditions with the grandchildren. So I generally do the Christmas puddings. So this Wednesday, we're going to be doing Christmas puddings with our youngest granddaughter. So that will be great. I'm sure that will become another tradition once we get back to being able to go out to the houses normally.
Yeah. There's something very special about creating those traditions in the first place and deciding what it is. And sometimes they happen quite unexpectedly. Like you do something one year and then somebody says, can we do that again? That was lovely. I really love that. We need to do that every year. And the way that these kind of traditions happen organically, it's really hard to say, right, I need to make a Christmas tradition. We don't have enough traditions in our household. And then we're going to do this. And then it kind of bombs and nobody wants to. They kind of evolve organically, which is one of the reasons why they're special, I think.
Yeah. I think there's going to be a lot of that this year as well, because this year's going to be, as Alan said, quite different for a lot of people. I know it's going to be quite different for me. This is going to be the first year I haven't gone to my parents' house for Christmas ever. I think a lot of people are in that sort of situation, because in my family, I've got family members that have autoimmune diseases. Some are pregnant. So everyone was just too much at risk to kind of gather together, and we all live across different parts of the country. So it just seemed like a poor idea. But we're trying to think of things that we can do where we can still spend time together and share some Christmas joy whilst being apart. So I think a lot of people are going to find things like that they're doing. Like, we've got some Zoom calls scheduled where we're going to watch the younger generation open their presents, the kids doing that, and all that sort of thing, and probably playing reindeer games as well. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Well,
but normally my family do play games a lot, so we'll need to find some alternative.
Let me ask the questionably quick questions. So in the chat, feel free to chime in for the next 5 minutes. Just any silliness is completely allowed. And I would like to ask people, exactly where are you and what time is it? I am in London, North London, 10:26.
I am in Hertfordshire, 10:26.
I'm in Bournemouth, and it is also 10:26 here.
I'm trying to wait until it's 10:27. No, I'm in Warboys, sitting upstairs in my office, and damn. Keep talking. It's not quite 10:20. Oh, 10:26.
No, I'm cutting you off.
Fine, yeah.
But we are all in England, in a very narrow region of the place. So Xate has a question straight off the bat. If you could take one of the other panel members' life for 1 week, like as in you're living their life for 1 week.
Yeah, not murdering them.
Whose life would you live?
I would choose Alan because I want grandchildren. I mean, that just sounds brilliant. Definitely.
I would choose Bez if it can be when she's moved to Thailand, because I wouldn't mind spending a week in Thailand.
I would choose Bez because I think it might be such a big contrast from what I normally do, and that would be really good for me, I think, to do something completely different. Absolutely.
I think I would choose. It would be a toss-up between Ellie and I think I would choose Alan because of the same reason. I'm thinking, like, the contrast. Because I think that would be the maximum contrast, because Ellie's got a family which you're actually living with, but which might be quite different. But Alan's actually got grandchildren, and
the attraction of grandchildren. Yeah.
I do have a dog, if that sweetens the deal. So just to say, if that
I mean, I have lived with a dog. I've never lived.
Not this one.
Oh.
The trouble is, you'd have to design a bit more of Kingmaker for me as well, which might be a disadvantage. I don't know.
Cal is in Dayton, Ohio, 5:26 a.m. That is very early.
Is it bath time?
And so I want to ask people, what annual traditions do you observe that, like, let's talk about the annual holidays that it's not just you, that's at least, 10, 20 other people might also go for. I will go first. I do have a Christmas meal normally. Every year, I think, have always been with the family. I'm still not sure what's going to happen this year. I always do something special for New Year's Eve, like whether it's staying up with the wee children and just being in the living room and dancing in front of the telly, or whether it's going out onto the hill and watching the fireworks in London, or going clubbing. And Eid al-Nowruz, I always celebrate. This is a very important time in Iran. It's like the time of spring and rebirth, and traditionally you'd make a nice little table. And I think those are the three things. I guess I could mention Bez Day, but that's a very self-promotional thing. 1st of August, where we just play Bez-based games, and Xate, another cheekiness from Xate that I'm not going to comment on. But Ellie, what?
For us, it's just Christmas. That's the only one that the only holiday we really observe at home, and we're not religious in any way, and it's just cultural, really. Yeah, it's all about Christmas and the build up, and we make it last a good long time.
Yes. Yeah, I'm very much about Christmas, and I could probably talk for about 10 minutes about all the stuff we do over Christmas, but I won't. Don't worry. As well as Christmas, in my family, we celebrate Easter. I'm not religious myself, but my father's a reverend, and so that's Easter's an important Christian holiday. And so growing up, that was we went to church and had a big meal, and we all tend to gather. So and that's quite nice because that's in the spring. So it's a nice, middle bit of the year after Christmas. I generally do something like New Year's as well, similar to Bez. It's not always something big, but even if it's just staying up till midnight and having a glass of champagne with somebody else, at least. And of course, Bez Day. And yeah, I do like the idea of Halloween, but I haven't done anything much the last few years for it. But I do like dressing up, and an excuse to dress up for a party is great, and Halloween's designed for that. So I'm a fan of that as well.
I mean, ours is mainly Christmas as well. We're not Christian, but we do. We our tradition at Christmas is we decorate Christmas Eve, which I think was quite rare nowadays. But we always decorate Christmas Eve, not before. So our theory, I think, was to concentrate Christmas much more into the actual Christmas period. And we do.
When do you take it down?
We take it down 12th night. Yeah.
Okay.
12th night. So yeah, very traditional in that sense. That's probably an age thing. But otherwise, all our annual traditions are game related. I mean, for example, we run our own games days, usually twice a year at certain specified weekends. In fact, we're supposed to be doing one in a couple of weekends' time, December one, and we haven't yet decided quite how that's going to go in the current climate. But then we also have Jonathan and Lucy Garnett, friends of ours. They do a August bank holiday games weekend, and of course we have the conventions we generally go to, which are all now traditions, except this year, obviously. So BayCon, GridCon is an emerging tradition, I guess. Expo, Spiel, Consequences, all these things have been long-running things we go to.
If we include conventions into this, we would be here all day.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
that's what our main stuff is focused on.
I do feel the same way. Conventions are like an annual kind of tradition or something, because it's something you can talk about to gamers with really easily. Like, oh, you're going to the UK Games Expo this year, and it's something you can instantly talk about. Or like, oh, have you been to us? And it's a shared experience a lot of us all have. So it is kind of something like that. And everyone's got the little rituals that we have. Like most people like those spiral potatoes on a stick at Essen. So that's part of Essen for me anyway.
I mean, if I may just kind of say, we're not going to talk about, we can touch upon conventions, but we'll mainly focus on the ones that aren't traditionally board game related. And so, I mean, I will admit that for me, UK Games Expo since 2011, it has definitely been a big part of my year, and I plan to continue going forever. Even when I'm away, I think that would be the one time of year that I would, if I came back twice, I think it would be once to see my family at the time of their choosing, either Christmas or Aiden or Rose, one or the other, and then the other one would be for UK Games Expo. I feel like that's the one thing that I wouldn't want to give up. And a quick hello to Jeroen, it's lovely to see you, as well as Yellow Pigeon and Idol Michael, who are all in the chat and joining us. Thank you very much for joining us. It's interesting that only one of us mentioned Halloween. I think that for me, it just takes a bit too much effort. It's like, okay, it's all on you. You need to dress up. You need to think of something new to dress up. And in a way, Halloween's interesting because there's an onus on surprise. It's not enough like Christmas. Like, we couldn't just eat the same food and play the same games and dress the same way and that be it. That wouldn't be enough. You need to have a new costume. People would be like, oh, you dress. And so I think, I don't know, to me at least, I feel like a bit more pressure from it.
Yeah.
And
I suppose pumpkin carving is a bit of a tradition for a lot of people, though. Even if they don't do anything else, if you carve a pumpkin and put it outside your house, that's a nice tradition, particularly with families, if you're doing that with your kids.
Yeah.
So my next question, going round, is what is your favourite holiday? A couple of you have already answered.
Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas. It's great.
Oh, I like the impromptu ones where we just decide we're going to book a little place somewhere in the Lake District and just go away for 3 or 4 days and go walking on the hills. I like that. Just the impromptu ones where it's not overly planned. I mean, you have to do some planning to go away.
Completely left field. I like it.
Yeah, that's my favourite. Christmas has its place, and it's like the 25th of December, really, isn't it?
I think for me, it's so hard to choose. It would be one of those 3 that I mentioned. I mean, Best Day, like everyone celebrates me, so it's brilliant. I mean, it's got my name in the title and I invented it, so clearly I'm biased. But for family, I would say that Christmas is the biggest chance to kind of connect. But New Year for me is kind of, I don't know. I really can't decide, and I'm terrible because I chose this question. But if
you don't have to, Bez. You can have them all. Have them all. Why not?
Choose one.
Okay.
The difference between Ellie and I'm like, don't worry about it. You don't have to choose. And he's like, no, choose.
Okay, I'm going with Best Day because Michael has, legitimized it.
It's validated it.
And
that's
so
good.
Fool's Guard.
We haven't.
You're allowed to like your birthday the best, but yeah, that makes sense. So next question: snow or warmth?
Warmth.
You mean like weather-wise?
Yep.
I'd say snow because it's easier if you're cold to get warm, but if it's too hot, there's just like sometimes it gets to a point there's nothing you can do about it.
I go definitely warm. I'm definitely on the warm side. I don't mind really hot as long as it's relatively short duration. I agree with.
I'm definitely all about the warmth, which is part of the reason for me moving away. I just really hate this time of year, and I think that concludes our questionably quick questions. So thank you very much, and as we get into the main topic, feel free to comment, ask questions from follow. A quick shout out to my own Bez and Friends Game Day, which is going to happen on January the 9th. And we are going to have Alan Paull doing March of Progress, Rory Muldoon doing Scora, and Eric Slauson from USA doing Monstrosity, and possibly someone else. I'd like to find someone. Ellie, if you're interested, something that could be maybe done easily without Tabletop Simulator. I was hoping for something that people didn't even need to do printing for, but I think lots of people these days have printer bots. Let's get into the main topic, which is, of course, about holiday games based on Christmas, Halloween, whatever. And so, the first question I wanted to ask everyone is, have you worked on any such games?
Yes.
Ellie.
The Cracker games, notably. So the Cracker games have got, as I said, 6 different games in the Giant Cracker. The games themselves are not Christmas themed. The components inside are not really Christmas themed. I mean, there's a deck of cards with different imps on, and you can see that the imps are sort of partying. They've got cakes, they've got hats, and things, but they're not specifically Christmassy, really. And they have got rubbish Christmas cracker jokes in them, of course. But obviously, being in a Giant Cracker, they are designed for Christmas. And and these were going to be in a set of 6 Christmas crackers. That was the original intention, to do them in a set of 6 crackers. But for lots of complicated reasons that didn't happen. And actually, I'm really happy with how it's ended up. And people seem to really like it. So there's that. And also, now, confessions. I did not know this was a good holiday theme when I designed the game. But Donut Dash is apparently the perfect Hanukkah game, because it's all about donuts at Hanukkah. So there you go. Donut Dash for Hanukkah. And I've also designed a game called Don't Count Your Chickens, which could at a stretch be considered an Easter game, but it's a bit of a tenuous link. And again, I didn't think about that at all when designing the game. So the really only the real holiday one is the Christmas cracker games.
And it's an interesting case because, as you say, the games themselves, whilst yeah, it's more about the packaging and the garnishes and little graphical touches. Yeah, because
it is, and you know, it's about the suggestion of when you're going to play this as well. You know, I was very much trying to create games that could be played while you eat Christmas dinner, and you know, so they're very light. They're deliberately light. The rules are deliberately easy to learn and to share and to teach other people. And the games are short, you know, and they don't. Most of them, there's one where you have to put cards out in front of you, but most of them don't take up a lot of space on the table. You can play around the other things on the table. So it's really, you know, designed to hook people into games and to just, you know, they're designed for families. They're not designed for gamers, really. But they are designed for gamers who'd like to hook their family into games a bit more. You know? So there are more interesting mechanisms, but introduced very lightly. So there's a market mechanism in one of the games, but it's you know, it's still very easy to access. And so, you know, and there's voting and things that you might not see in all of the kind of family, I guess, big party games that most families might have.
Yeah,
we had some cracker games a couple of 2 or 3 years ago, I think, which were quite cool. Little wind up racing Santas, I think was each cracker's got a little Santa. You wind it up and you race them across the table. Those are the kinds of things. Yeah, well, they are kind of games, aren't they? But they're not. Yeah,
they are. That's about the limit that I've seen in crackers.
Yeah.
Well, Alan, have you ever worked on a game themed around a holiday?
Only really indirectly. I mean, there's the Frosted Games, Brexbill Advent Calendar, this thing, which they produced. This is the 2016 version, where basically the idea here was that they approached a range of companies, and they actually have little expansions for games, all numbered, you know, for the well, Advent, obviously, and each day you would open one of these. You'd open one of these little things and see what was inside. You know, we could do an unboxing now if you like, because I don't know what's in. Shall we do an unboxing?
Yes, please.
Yeah,
how exciting! I don't have an Advent calendar this year, so this can be mine.
Technically, it's the 2016, but this is number one. So we'll have a look and see. Of course, the disadvantage of this is that you have to actually own the game. I'm going to do this. Here we go. Live unboxing. Okay. You have to own the game, of course. So I don't know what's in here because I haven't done this. But this is, there we go. So now we have a nice little wrapper, 2016, but never mind. And it's got Frosted Games logo on it. And this is for Delphi Seafarer expansion, and you get in it. You get these nice little die-cut counter sheet with the. I don't know anything about this game at all. It's just completely live, you see. So you get that thing and the rules. So there's the rules for the game there. So. If you
do like the way it's packaged with
really
very hiding what's in it.
They do tell all the manufacturers how you know what you can have in it. Which is basically like the rules and up to a sheet of counters. And so we have done this. I think we've done this a couple of times. Tony did a couple of ones for. I think he did one for Snowdonia and one for Guilds of London. I think that there were. So we took part in this because we work we work closely with Frosty Games. And that's a really nice idea. And I think it's I don't think it's quite a tradition, but certainly they do this quite frequently, Frosty Games. And it's a really nice tradition because you're getting the excitement of, tomorrow I can open number 2 and see if I've actually got that game, can use it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's 4 years late, but it's definitely the right time to start opening it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing about those advent calendars. The big turn-off is that because they are just and you have a couple of the Snowdonia cards on you, I think, if you
yes,
show them off very quickly.
The other thing that we've been we have done is these little Snowdonia. Here's Santa's sleigh. This is a Snowdonia train. Okay, it's Santa's sleigh, and it has its own little abilities. Oh, it's very difficult to see if I can hold it really still. There we go, Santa's sleigh, Snowdonia card. And if you can, I won't go through the icons, but if you know what the icons are for Snowdonia, that'll tell you what it does. I think it gets you some coal, and you can take a contract card because it's a present. You can take a contract card free with Santa's sleigh. There are a number of other ones. There's a birthday train as well. Look, there's a birthday train. So there's quite a lot of celebratory cards. There's even a party one. There's a conga train. There you go. See? And all of these have got special, sometimes quite silly abilities in the game, which is nice. We've even got, this is one I quite like. We've even got Jumbo the circus elephant, who is also a train, because obviously you can stick an elephant in the front.
A train of elephants, of course. The common phrase.
And for the religious amongst you, we even have the Son of God as well. There we go. Brilliant. So but these are all. I think we've got Snowdonia trains for any eventuality.
But were these not in the big box of Snowdonia things?
These are in.
Why does Michael not have them all?
The deluxe master set Snowdonia. Yes.
So Michael, you need to get the deluxe master set
from your friendly local gaming store,
or direct from us,
or direct from Alan.
Yeah.
But
sorry.
And Sate says asking for the Son of God with the word "damn it" seems a bit counterintuitive. But there is an issue with those Brexbill advent calendars that it can lead to disappointment, and it's like, oh, I don't have this game. Oh, I don't have this game either. And
but if it's at Christmas time, you can give it away as a gift to somebody who has got it.
That's what I was going to say, because Christmas is all about the giving. So you could go onto, a gaming forum and be like, hey guys, who's got this game? Do you want this free thing for your copy?
I mean, that's a fair point, but...
Sorry, does anybody want the Delphi? Does anybody want the Delphi?
Yeah, if anyone wants the Delphi, then let us know in the comments.
I'll happily post it.
And so that could be an early Christmas gift.
Yeah.
It feels like, I don't know, I worry about this matching things with the people and people not having the things and not being able to find the people who need the things. And it's that Xates is asking Alan to join a new Secret Santa, and Alan's target would be Michael, but that kind of ruins the idea of a Secret Santa, surely.
It's not very secret, no.
Public shaming. You think?
Ask Jess, what games have you been involved in?
Well, holiday themes. Well, I'm doing 2 right now, Bez, as you well know. So the first I'll mention is the Kickstarter, which launched just today with EM Publishing, which is Presents for Goblins. So this is festive resources for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition games. As you can see, it's already funded, which is yay, a bit of festive joy, but you still have 13 days to go. We're going to fulfill the PDFs the same day the campaign ends in 13 days. So you will have time to fit in and use it in your holiday game. It's got snowy monsters and villains. It's got like a Dickensian style kind of NPCs and St. Nicholas theme. And also there's a little campaign called Presents for Goblins, which is a silly Christmassy themed fun little adventure that you can play. And it's just £7 for the PDFs. We are doing soft covers, which will the hardcover books will arrive in pretty January time, but the PDFs will be in time for Christmas and fulfilled the same day the campaign ends. But yeah, so if you fancy that, go and have a look on there. And the second thing I'm doing as well, if you don't have £7 to spend on holiday games, that's fine. I have one for you for free. So this is a digital board game. I've just joined MeetMax Games, and I have the amazing job of getting to tell people about this new game. So this is a digital board game. It's for 3 to 12 players, and it's designed by the designer from Coup and Chameleon, Ricky Tartar. And there's a little video here, which I'll let Bez play maybe. It's a reindeer racing game, but I'll let you play the video so you can get a sense of it.
Oh, I'm not going to play the sound.
Oh, you're not doing the sound. Okay, no worries. So it's a reindeer racing game. So it's really simple. You can play it remotely or in person. Each location will need to have a screen where they can view the race, which is what Bez has on now, which can be like your computer screen or your television. And then everyone will need a device, which can be a mobile phone. You don't need to download an app or anything. It's all on web browser. And it's really simple rules, so everyone can play. You've only got 2 actions. One of them is at the beginning of the round, you'll be shown who your champions are, the 3 reindeer you want to win, and 1 nemesis reindeer who you don't want to win. And you're trying to collect as many presents as you can and not get coal. So the way you get presents is by your champion reindeer winning, and you get coal by your nemesis reindeer winning. Now in the group, you'll have to chat to everybody around you and figure out who's got reindeer in common, so you can kind of team up and work together. So it's designed to just get you talking and spending time together. And then you pick a food pack, because carrots make reindeers run faster, and Christmas puddings make them go sleepy and fall asleep and run slower, just like with people. So yeah, those are the only 2 things you do really, is you pick your food pack, you chat with people around you to decide who you're going to feed and what you're going to do. Then you feed the reindeer, and then you watch the race. And we have 5 rounds of races. And yeah, it's all for free. You can sign up on the website there at meetmaxgames.com/reindeer games. And if you sign up and put your email in there, I will email you a link to a free copy of the game by the 21st of December. And it'll be free to play from the 21st of December until the end of the year, which is 12 days, but not the official 12 days, but it is for 12 days of Christmas. Because we figure that's when a lot of people will have time off work from the 20th onwards and stuff. So yeah, so that's the main one I'm doing that I'm really excited about, as you can tell.
And so, yeah, then as for me, I've not worked on much that could be called relevant to Christmas or anything. The closest thing would be Giftable by David Brain for the LDEC. Do you ever play Giftable, Alan?
No, I don't think I have.
Giftable,
actually,
for those who don't know, you come up with, okay, Terry is a archaeologist, and then everyone has to come up with a gift for Terry. Like you might have a wet trowel. That's not a very good present. I don't know why Terry would. I mean, Terry might want a trowel, okay, it happens to be wet, but maybe a ruby trowel might be a bit better, like a trowel that's made of rubies. And then someone is the judge. They decide which of the presents Terry, the archaeologist, who's this fictional character that you've just invented, wants. Like, that is vaguely Christmas, but I've not done anything with an obvious Christmas theme or a Halloween theme or anything like that. It's more stuff like Ellie mentioned, where it's like, okay, you could sort of equate that with that. And so, like, the question, and I know that Ellie has to go in a wee bit. So the question that I'd like to jump to is actually, why would you make a game themed around this particular thing? And so let's start with Ellie. What was the inspiration, and why did you make a Christmas themed thing?
Well, for me, I'm really trying to create games that are going to hook in families that don't play loads of games yet. So, board gamers are going to play games all through the year. There's never going to be a break, I guess, not intentionally, where they're not playing, and they're always thinking about games. They're always buying games. They're always kind of on the lookout. They're going to conventions during the year, and they're reading things and listening to podcasts, and they're always looking. But most people aren't doing that. most people, most families are playing games at Christmas and will buy a new game each Christmas and may not buy any other games during the year, may not play at any other time. And, you know, I've got it very central to my mission and what I'm doing to hook new families into playing games. And so I'm looking for ways to do that. And if they're going to buy a game at Christmas, I'm going to try and make sure it's going to be, you know, I want to make sure that they're looking at my game. Now, if I'm kind of what I'm doing with the Christmas crackers is I'm killing two birds with one stone. Really, they're buying an alternative to Christmas crackers that is a bit greener. It's okay, you're not pulling it, you're not, but you've still got you still got something to put on the table, you've still got your silly jokes and all of that going on, but you haven't got all the mess and the chuck away stuff, and yet you've got a new game for the family. And that's you know, that's something that people are looking to do. So I know that loads of people have bought this game that wouldn't buy a game at any other time in the year. So that's, you know, my primary reason to do it, really. And also, you know, I suppose from a commercial point of view, you know, thinking about how can I make sure that I make enough money over the Christmas period, because of course it's seasonal. You know, I'm going to make more money at this time of year than I do in January, February. And for most of the rest of the year, how can I make sure that I'm getting as much as I can out of them?
That seems like the elephant in the room, the fact that Christmas has become such a commercial thing, at least in this country. Again, I recognise that it will be different based on where you live, but in the UK, I know that at the Toy Fair, I was being told that people were working out Christmas in August for 16 months ahead, whatever that would be. And they were actually working out their toy guides and everything. You know, that's not true of everyone. There's going to be a lot of bloggers who are just, you know, we already talked about reaching out to them, Ellie. But yeah, there is such a commercial aspect to it, which we can, I mean, personally, I am a bit uncomfortable about. Like, I really appreciate when gifts are thoughtful rather than being, okay, you need to give a person a gift at this particular time of year. But no, it makes a lot of sense as a publisher to capitalize on that time, because,
well, you know, it's a business. And, you know, the reason I'm doing what I'm doing is so that I can get as many people into board gaming as possible. But to do that, I have to be able to be commercially viable. If I can't sustain the business, if the business isn't making enough money to keep going, then I can't get to more families. So it's got to be commercially viable. So you have to make these decisions, weighing up all these things. And we're not living in a perfect world where we can all work for free. It just doesn't work like that. So, you know, you've got to be smart about it, really, I think.
Yeah, I agree with Ellie. I think Ellie's strategy is bang on for the objective that Ellie has there. I mean, if you look at the German market, you look at Spiel des Jahres. Okay, they're not designing Christmas themed games necessarily, but the target is definitely purchases for Christmas. And you know, if you want to get more non-gamers into gaming, or indeed casual gamers, and supply things to casual gamers, Christmas is going to be that big magnetic pull, and you can't really avoid it. Now, from our point of view, at Surprise Stare, we design things that we like to play ourselves. If we had a really good holiday themed game, we would certainly design it. There wouldn't be any problem with that, but I haven't yet really been involved. We've done the odd expansion, as you can see from the cards, but it wouldn't be my major target. But that's because we haven't got the same objectives as Ellie has. We're focusing more on hobby games, people who already are gamers, really. So it's different. So I would say, you know, if somebody came up to us, I think haven't mentioned zombie games for Halloween, but if somebody came to us and said, I've got a really good idea for a zombie themed game for pocket campaigns, our you know, our Ming Voyages, Cousins of War, you know, March of Progress thing, we would look at that. Absolutely. It wouldn't matter to us whether it was holiday themed or not. It has to be a good game. Yeah, that's where we stand, certainly.
I think holiday themes, just like Ellie was saying, a lot of people don't play games unless it's around Christmas if they're more casual gamers or just they don't identify as gamers. And sometimes having a holiday theme can make it feel accessible and not scary. Because I find when I go home for the holidays, I want to play games with my family and I want to find things that don't look intimidating to people that aren't gamers. I mean, games like, In a Bind or things like that are great for that. No, I'm joking because obviously it's your game. But no, in seriousness, this sort of game isn't scary to people.
It's not good for people in the mass markets.
I'm saying it is excellent for that. But I mean, yes, I am. No, it's these sorts of games that they're not scary. You don't look at them and go, "Oh, it's this big, complicated game with loads of parts. I don't know what that is." So generally, around the holidays, I will pick up games that are like this, that are small to transport, to take if I'm going to visit somebody, and that are simple, that everybody can play really quickly. And I think that's key to a successful holiday theme. Well, it's definitely Christmas themed game. If you're looking for something like that, is to keep it light so that everybody can play. Because you always get some people that's like, "Oh, I don't know about games. Oh, I don't get the rules." Or some people sometimes feel a bit silly playing games and they don't want to get involved and they're a bit reluctant at first. But usually when people get into it, they enjoy it. Actually, I find most people. I've yet to find somebody that doesn't really like games. Any games. They just, there's some games they won't like, but there's game for everybody.
Yep, I agree.
I mean, I understand you need to leave at this point, Sally, which is such a shame. But before you leave, do you have anything that you would like to add to this subject? Quick 1 minute, or?
Well, I mean, I think that when at home we don't play Christmas themed games because we're gamers. We play whatever we fancy playing at any kind of holiday. But I do appreciate the fact when I'm organising game nights, I do appreciate these dates during the year where I can make a sort of a theme. So if Valentine's Day is coming, we might do lots of games with hearts in them or love as a theme. If Easter's coming, we might do some games with eggs in or something like that, zombie themes at Halloween. And that helps to kind of keep it fresh and make it feel like we're playing different games all the time. But ultimately at Christmas, we'll just play whatever we've got that's new, that we've been looking forward to getting, that people have given us or we've given each other. And yeah, I mean, I just think that, but I think generally for people that don't play lots of games, it's a real opportunity to get to families that don't play often and try and get them with better games than they might just pick up at, wherever they're buying games, whether it's Waterstones, which is getting better with its selection, or wherever they're picking their games up from. We've got, I think, there's an opportunity there to get in with better things that are going to give them, I just saw yesterday, Monopoly have brought out another, I don't know what it is, the Bad Losers edition or something. Every year, people are going and buying another version of Monopoly when they could buy something else. And it's just about spreading that word and getting to them about what else is available, really. I'm sorry I have to leave. It's a bit of a mad time. I'm fulfilling all the orders for these crackers and all the other games. And I've got another meeting starting in about 5 minutes.
Well, it's been lovely. I'll make sure to share your links at the end.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you.
See you soon.
Good to see you.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
See you.
I mean, it seems that is it at the end of the day. And, talking about capitalizing on these things, and it makes me think that, after the categorical deck and the couple deck and the alphabetical deck, which alphabetical is going to be the original style of typeface, but couple's the one that I'm most excited about because that's not going to be drawn by me. But anyway, I feel like maybe I should have a seasonal deck. I don't know.
Oh,
if
that's
I
nice. I like that.
make some exactly what that would look like, but kind of trying to tap into that thing. And it says, "Oh, bye bye." I should have sung "Bye Bye"
it's
to
the
Ellie.
song. Oh,
But and I think one thing that I've realized is we've got three kinds of things. We've actually four, maybe. We've got original games like Ellie's Cracker games that are, just themed around Christmas. We're going to push this at Christmas. We've got expansion packs, and that kind of ties into promo cards where you've got, okay, here's an expansion pack for Christmas. Here's an or the promo cards that you get in those advent calendars. And then we've got new versions of games like Winter Carcassonne or whatever, where once the game's sold enough, it's like, yeah, you know what? Okay, I can justify a 10, 20,000 print run and I don't know, like.
Or you could just have Dead of Winter.
Yes, that's very Christmassy, isn't it?
Very.
There is a Santa character in it. And one of the things, when his character dies, everyone gets happy that there's a morale boost if he dies, which I'm not sure what it says about the character, but there we go.
I think the idea is that is the worst Santa ever.
Yes.
I wanted to move from publishing to us as gamers and to ask, what games do we have that are actually seasonal or Christmas themed? And what do we actually personally end up playing? So I wanted to talk about Present, which I actually talked about with Chris. You can check Sunday's thing for the full review, or if I get it up onto Board Game Geek and then Crystal. But it's got four cards that you can put into the deck. You only choose one of them to say this is going to end the game. Either when it says congratulations, only one congratulation. You don't get multiple. You don't deserve them.
Don't be greedy.
Yeah. Or happy birthday if you want to play it on someone's birthday. Or Merry Christmas or Happy New Year, which is, so it's like a game that I guess they were really thinking, okay, you're going to play this at particular times of the year. And that's an interesting design choice where it's like, okay, you get to pick how the game's going to end with this. There could be anything on this card. It's completely just a slightly variable game end, you know, the kind of thing where you shuffle it into the bottom X cards. And yeah, that is the only game that I've got that I could think, yeah, this is clearly a seasonally themed game. How about you two?
So you could put that into, you could have a seasonally themed Coloretto by using one of those cards as the
that's very true.
Yeah.
I actually have
to have right back as Coloretto.
It'd have to have the Coloretto back, yes. So it'd have to be a specific expansion to Coloretto. The celebratory end of game card. Yes. Yeah. I can't think of any actual seasonally themed games that I've got apart from the ones I've mentioned here. I don't think we've actually got any.
I have, but I couldn't find it when I was grabbing them before the game. I have a Christmas tree, which is you have a cute Christmas tree and you've got these cards and you're placing them and you're trying to place different things next to each other for different combinations, and that's quite a nice game. And I also have 12 Days, which I cannot find now, which is a card game, which is really nice as well. But they're my only Christmassy themed ones, really. But I generally do a Christmassy themed RPG with my friends, with my gaming group. We usually have a session that's got something a bit silly in, you know, and vaguely linked to the holidays. But yeah.
Now, like what Ellie mentioned about if you're part of a gaming group and then you want a bit of a theme, like I remember when I was up in Glasgow during March, they said, okay, it was March Railway Mayhem or something like that. And then the first time it was like, okay, we're just playing games with trains in them. So it might be Ticket to Ride, it might be 18XX, it might be Transamerica, whatever. And there's lots of games with trains in them. And the next year we said, okay, that was fun. Let's do an entire month of just games made by Martin Wallace. And then the next year it was like, okay, let's do games and I wanted to do, I think we did do auction games one year as like a
lot of those,
But having some sorts of, okay, let's have a way to maybe play those games that we don't play all the time, and a reason to change it up a bit, and a reason to say, okay, like during Valentine's Day, yeah, sure, let's play Fog of Love and Kawaii, and to theme it a little bit, or at Halloween. But at Christmas, for me, I feel like I don't feel like gaming was a big thing on Christmas Day itself. I feel like we might end up playing potentially a light quiz game or something really short. Probably not Yogi or In a Bind, because if we've eaten a lot, it might not be the best thing. But maybe, just Kitty Cataclysm could be a thing.
Yeah.
When I was little, we would play on Boxing Day, not on Christmas. Yeah, because we were Christmas Day. There wasn't usually enough space because everything was cluttered, and we were supposed to go for a walk after lunch. You see, to being kids, children, you have to go out for a walk. Apparently, I didn't quite follow that, but anyway. So Boxing Day would be our day, but we would play the standard things like Monopoly or Cluedo or Formula One or something.
Yeah.
I did a quick search on Board Game Geek actually on Christmas or winter themed games, and there's not huge numbers out there. Winter theme. I mean, I've got this. Somebody did one. Bizarrely, the list is in July last year, but still, Letters to Santa, 12 days, and then it gets to kind of more wintry games like Hey, That's My Fish, Snow Tales, the Anniversary Stone
Ice Cool.
Age, like that. Ice Cool, yeah. So they're more
I was vaguely thinking about bringing over a penguin game, just because it's got penguins, it's got icebergs, but it's not really Christmas themed. It's not really. No. If you want to actually say this is a Christmas themed game, no, it's not.
I think some people are hesitant to make a Christmas themed game because it feels too commercial, like you were saying, Bez. It feels like the negative parts of Christmas that none of us really like, that commercialism thing. And also, I think some people worry it would make people assume it's not a good game and think, oh, it's just put a Christmas paste on it and it's purely just not much to it.
Yeah.
Which is one of the things it's difficult sometimes when you have a good game and it is Christmas themed. Like with reindeer games, that's also free. So my concern was people will think, oh, it's going to be a bit rubbish, but it's actually a really good fun game. But so I think that's why sometimes people don't, do those themes maybe, and why there's not as many of them.
Yeah, for sure. If people think, oh, this is a bit gimmicky, and I mean, like I've seen Christmas reskins of games. And for me, that makes a lot of sense because it's like, okay, this game's done well enough that I'm going to maybe something that if you want a specific game, if you only play games once a year, then you can. And as a gamer, Xate mentions that Xate doesn't own any games with any holiday themes unless you count the Grizzled Armistice Edition. It has a card about the Christmas Day break from fighting.
It does, and that's a lovely card. I've played the Grizzled over Christmas before, but I don't think it counts as a Christmas game.
Even if you're playing the Armistice Edition?
Even if I wouldn't say it fills me with Christmas joy.
No, that's not really its purpose.
It's a different thing. But I generally, the games I play over Christmas, just to segue into that, don't tend to be Christmas themed. They're just ones that suit that audience. They're normally small, so I can put them in my bag to travel to visit family, and games that are accessible and easy. So I've got like the Insider there, things like Sushi Go or Coloretto or In a Bind. Those are the kind of, I would normally take 5 or 6 little games like this with my family that I could play with them. Something I can easily teach to them and they'll enjoy.
So we've talked about the things that we've played and a little bit. I mean, Alan, actually, you've not talked so much about what specifically you play on Christmas. You've mentioned you play games, but would you play Terraforming Mars?
I think we would play whatever is our kind of game at the moment, I guess. I don't think we pick anything special, if you like. We just pick whatever comes up in the mood, really, I think. Now there is the other thing that I might well play a solo game. I can take myself off and play a solo war game, which is completely not Christmassy at all. but having that extra time. Charlie might be off doing something else, reading a book or something, and I might go and play a hardcore war game, which is a bit weird, but it's just because I don't often get the opportunity. I don't often get the opportunity to do that. So yeah, that's what I do, which is a bit strange, I guess. But yeah, so no, we don't have. I don't think we have any particular games we play. Well, I mean, with our family, there are a couple of games that we do play when we get together. One was a tradition, and that is Sorcerer's Cave. That was a tradition when they were young, because it was a game that they could really easily get into, and they just liked the idea of doing a dungeon thingy where you can make it so that Dad gets trapped in the dungeon and can't get out. You see, which is nice. They like that. So Sorcerer's Cave was always a big hit, and the other really strange one that is a family tradition, and that is an Avalon Hill game called Wizards, which is it's a bizarre long hex. Well, yeah, yes. Wizards is. Can you find it on Board Game Geek? Wizards. It's an old Avalon Hill game with a bluish cover. It's all about elves and fairies, and you're basically doing quests. And it's a very, very long game. It can take like 10 hours to play. And for some reason, both my daughters quite like playing that once in a while. So it would be maybe once a year we would play Wizards, because it's played more or less for laughs. And the quests are good things for that, because they're all worded in this kind of very I don't know, what would you call it, kind of twee fashion. There we go, that's the one. And you have these hexes and you put them on the board, and it's a C all the way around, and you have to move your guy around to fulfill the quests. And it has things like go to a specific hex off a specific island and stick your head in the sea to learn the Song of the Whales, and then go somewhere else to sing the Song of the Whales that you've just learnt to a bunch of elves in a forest. You see, so it's that kind of thing. Yeah, there we go. It's got the good old. That looks almost like old D&D style of artwork, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
That dragon really looks like D&D.
Complexity rating of 6 out of 10.
Yeah, it's very complicated. Oh yeah, it's a very long game. The basic, you have to go and find magicians and get gems off them, and then when you've got all the gems, you win. But you have to get loads and loads of points before you do it. So that is our family tradition, is playing that. It was sufficiently popular that I think Vicky has got. I think it's Vicky who's got a copy of Wizards. I'm not sure if Jen had a copy as well, but we now have more than one. Both. Oh, Charlie's here, said that. We've got both of our children have got Wizards. So now we have 3 copies in the family. So, yeah. So
of this old obscure Avalon Hill game.
Yeah. I think, as somebody said earlier, these family traditions, though, do emerge for eclectic reasons. And that's our weird one. Yeah.
And I like what Jess said earlier, that this year we might start new traditions. Like, I'm not sure whether I will personally be going up to my parents or not. I would really like to. They would really like me to. But, given they're up in Glasgow, I'm not sure how it can work out. And also, I am waiting on some dental treatment, which is also a thing that I'm concerned about. But yeah, anyway, all of that to the side, during this year, I've started a tradition with one of my siblings who's based in Australia. We are phoning each other at 10 p.m. UK time every other Friday. So like it's once every 2 weeks. So it's not like that regular, but during lockdown, I don't know whether if we're out of lockdown, maybe it'll be a bad time, but it's kind of opening up those communications again. And maybe, during Christmas, we might have, some sorts of family Zoom. We did have, having some sorts of thing that even if people are far away, they can still come together. Maybe we will start having online things. And so, yeah. Sorry,
I
Alan.
think so.
Yeah, I mean, for us, we usually have every Sunday morning we have a little family Zoom, well, a Discord chat, and maybe a game as well with our daughters. But it's a bit unfortunate. But my parents, who live in Cheltenham, the trouble is they're not Zoom people. Although I think my mum's got an iPad but doesn't really know how to use it, and they're not. Yeah, well, it's difficult, but they're not really into kind of video chatting and things like that. So we don't really get to see them, which is a shame. We're trying to arrange some way in which we can do this, even if we kind of wave at them when we stand in the garden and they're inside. At least wave at them at Christmas time.
Yeah.
That. We're trying to arrange to see if we can actually do that.
Do a drive-by.
Yeah. But I don't want to go and visit them because my dad's over 90 and my mum's late 80s, and so they both have dementia, unfortunately. So they are kind of a risk group. So I don't want to risk actually visiting, but waving through a window is fine.
Yes, yeah, I think that's okay.
Quite how much they'll understand of that, I don't know, but it's something we're thinking about.
Yeah, I think this year is a lot about trying to find new ways to do things. Like my family, I won't be going up to visit them. And normally on Christmas Eve, we would meet at my sister's house and have a little Christmas buffet, and we'd play Monikers, because it's a game everyone understands and it's silly and it's fun and everyone can, have a glass of wine or something. So this year we're going to try and I think do that digitally online, just so we can hang out and spend time together. But games, I think, are great for that. Because I think at this point we've been in lockdown so long, there's been so many Zoom chats, and there's sometimes only so much that you can say. If it's been a week since you've seen someone and you've been just staying at home and working, it's not a lot to talk about. So having a game or an activity you can do whilst you're doing Zoom is a great way to connect and things. And I think that's why people play board games in real life, because they want to have an activity that they're doing together that's creating a story instead of just watching a film together or doing something passive. It's more engaging. And so online games that can do things like that are really great, I think.
For sure. And there are definitely some games that can work online. I did want to ask Jess, and also to a smaller degree Alan, but let's go in that sort of order.
Okay.
What's the unique challenges of designing or publishing or marketing a seasonally themed game are? You mentioned the fact that some people might think, okay, reindeer games, that's just a gimmick. But and hello, Runa, it's lovely to have you. And yeah, Runa, who does wonderful crafting and stuff. And it's like, yeah, we're getting together not just to have random chat, but to make stuff. And that's a lovely thing. And Runa does a great job of chatting to people whilst crafting things on Twitch.
Exactly. That's exactly the sort of thing I mean. Doing a thing can make it a bit better. But going back to your question, Beds, about how do you market or promote a game that's Christmas themed and the challenges around that. So with Reindeer Gamers, I've just come on board to kind of promote that, which is really fun and exciting. The lucky thing about it for me is that it is free. So for a lot of people can say, hey, it's a free game. So a lot of them think, oh, okay, well, that's quite a low, risk if it's not great. But my fear was that people would think because it's free and because it's Christmas themed that it's going to be a bit of a rubbish game, which is really not. So what I've tried to do is mention that, it's designed by Ricky Tartar, who did Coup and did Chameleon. So it is, it's made by a credible game designer, and, it's got some kind of mechanics and theme to it. And what I'm going to be doing over the next few weeks is kind of doing some live play videos, letting people play online. So maybe, Bez, if you fancied an online game, we could do that at some point. I think it is challenging though with a Christmas themed game. I think if you're doing a Christmas themed board game, like you've said, if it's an established game like Catan or something like that everybody all knows and loves, there are some games that are going to sell. And so you kind of just put a Christmas theme on it and put it in the shops and people will buy them. But I think if it's a first time game you're making, it probably would be quite challenging to do that. At EM Publishing, we've got Presents for Goblins out, which is the smaller little collection of D&D module Christmassy things. But we've done lots of games before, so people kind of know who we are and what sort of games we do. So they wouldn't see this and think, oh, this is just, a cop-out type thing. They know who we are as an RPG company and that it'll be a good quality book. But I think it is definitely a challenge when you're trying to promote and sell Christmas-themed games to gamers.
Yeah, I think so. One of the reasons that we haven't done it, well, partly we haven't really thought of it hard, I think, is that you don't want to appear to be just cashing in on the celebration time. I would say, actually, that I think your approach in doing a free game, I think that's a good approach, because you're blatantly not cashing in explicitly. Although, of course, it's part of marketing, and I think using a free Christmas game as part of your marketing seems quite reasonable. If you've got a track record of producing good games, and you've got a good game there, having that as having a good Christmas themed game and marketing it free sounds like a brilliant idea, actually.
I mean,
that's the way I would do it. I wouldn't probably design a Christmas themed game for general sale unless it was, spectacularly good, because of that problem of how you get over that cashing it in type of.
Yeah. And that's, I think, with Meatmax giving away reindeer games, we're doing it because we can, because we have, is the main reason, because 2020 has been a really difficult year for a lot of people. A lot of people financially are struggling, so they don't have the spare income to buy games, because, buying games is a luxury that not everyone can do right now. And also a lot of people can't visit their families, which is things they'd normally do. So we wanted to do something that means, hey, you can still have a game, you can still do something that's connect together and just have it free. And we're offering it for free between the 21st and the 1st of January. So it's like a window around Christmas when it's free.
And it's a game that you play online. So after that date, you'll be able to play it, but you have to pay some sort of subscription or something.
We are deciding what we're going to do with it, whether, to be honest. So it might be that you can pay to have it, or basically we're not going to be offering ongoing support after that time for it, is the idea. But we are doing on the website, if you are in a place where you can afford to pay for games, if you'd like to pay for the game, you can donate to charity. We've said give $5. We've got a couple of nominated charities we're just checking and we're going to put on the website. So if you do like the game and you've enjoyed playing it, donate money to charity instead of sending it to us for the game is what we're doing. So, but equally, we didn't want to make that people had to, because we know not everybody is in a place where they have the spare income to do that. So I just want to share a bit of Christmas joy, really, because 2020
that's a really cool thing,
year.
and it's a really good thing to be able to do.
Yeah.
And so, it does seem like something that to talk about maybe afterwards, about this sort of giving away freebies, could be a topic in itself, for another date.
Yeah.
Because I think you touched upon this kind of perception of what's this all about? What's the point of this? And of course, if you've got Carcassonne Winter Edition, well, it's Carcassonne, it's good. And it gets into that thing of, okay, using the name of the designer or having that credibility of, if it was from, I don't know, CGE Games, well, I would be taking a careful look at it, because, CGE, they do pretty Polish stuff, and presumably, also not to mention that most of this stuff's by Kovatel anyway. But it's railing against that does sound like the critical thing of, we are doing this to bring some joy.
Yeah.
But you weren't part of that original decision, were you, Jess?
No, I was brought in to help kind of promote it and talk about it, really, because they're like, we want to do this thing. Oh gosh, we've got no time to do stuff, because Meatmax Games, they generally do large group games for the corporate market, which is where this kind of came from. And Christmas is a really busy time of year for them as a company, because as you can imagine, loads of companies are doing their office Christmas parties and stuff. And the fact that everything can be done remotely at Meatmax means it's been a really popular choice. So they wanted to do this thing, but they're like, oh, we don't have the time to kind of promote this and get this out there. So I've kind of been brought in to talk about it, to share it, to manage the community. And of course, because it's online, maybe there'll be some bugs or people will have issues with technology. So I'll be about to kind of help with those bits and pieces. So making how-to guides to set up and things like that, and be there for troubleshooting. Because as we all know, technology sometimes, with the best will in the world, does what it wants.
So, Alan, when it came to making a Christmassy Snowdonia card, I know it might have been a bit more Tony than you, but did you have any particular things that went through your mind?
Not really, no. I mean, even with the Brexbill Advent Calendar thing, they weren't necessarily Christmas-themed expansions, or I think some of them might have been. It was just a mechanism. So I don't think I've really kind of geared something for the Christmas market, specifically Christmas themed, at all, really. Which is, yeah, that's, I mean, even with things like this, you know, the Santa sleigh, that's somebody else's idea, and we published that. But then that's alongside, I don't know, however many hundred, I don't know, we've got a whole book here of Snowdonia games. There's like 20 pages of Snowdonia trains in here. So I mean, there's lots and lots of trains. So almost any theme you can think of will have a Snowdonia train, because they are promo. These are specifically were promo cards. So you can see that, yeah, we might have our restriction, I think, if it was something seasonal, would be to do a free promo. Probably that would be our general approach. Take it as a kind of more of a marketing thing, rather than doing a specific sold product for it.
But that makes sense. And coming to it from the place of, okay, we already have this IP. I just looked on Board Game Geek, and there's at least 3 licensed Monopoly Christmas games. Of course there are. I'm sure there's another 100 that are not on Board Game Geek.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, there is like the realization that how many board games are not on Board Game Geek is like just a massive whoa. You know, when I realized that a couple of years ago, I was like, whoa, you mean, how many games do I have that aren't even on Board Game Geek? And it's like, or how many games do you see in the shops that are in the charity shop that are probably terrible? And how many licensed things? And
well, yes, Tony has been acquiring lots of older games for his games museum, and he's finding lots of games which are like from the 50s and 60s, which is not on, or even earlier, which are not on Board Game Geek at all. So there's lots of product out there which people don't know about.
Like, it feels like, and I said this about Ramen Fury, kind of totally changing the topic, but when we come to Disney's Villainous, like a lot of stuff out of Prospero Hall, people are starting to say, yes, we could make any game and it would probably sell, because let's be honest, you have a game in a crispy ramen packaging and it would probably sell just on the strength of that packaging. Because my friend bought it for another friend purely because their friend really likes ramen. They like ramen so much, they literally have a tattoo of ramen. And so anyway, they were going to buy that no matter what. And I'm sure there's a lot of other people who would buy that, or Disney's Villainous, or Jaws, or whatever. But more and more, we're starting to get to the point where these games are actually good. And, you know, I appreciate that Ellie's trying to do stuff and actually make it good. You know, everyone that I speak to multiple times, you know, I believe is trying to put out good stuff. And so whether it is themed around Christmas or Halloween, or just around cats, or just themed around TV screens, I don't know, like maybe it's The Networks by Gil Hova, whatever theme it is, it doesn't change the fact that your game has to be good, and those same attributes always have to be the core driving thing of, we are going to make this game, we're going to, those core tenets of game design and good publishing don't change.
No, they don't. No, it's like with education. Sorry, Jess. With educational games, they have to be good games, and the educational comes later.
I think there's different parts of the market as well, because the type of games you're talking about there is like gift games, which are games which are designed to just be in a gift shop that people see and be like, oh, my friend likes this thing or this theme, I will get this for them. And maybe it's just a simple little, maybe it's like just a reskin of Uno or, you know, matching cards or something. And that's kind of fine because it has its place. Like you say, I'm sure your friend who loves ramen loved getting that game and that brought them a lot of joy. So, but I think that it's different when you're in hobby games and in that kind of gaming world. They're kind of two different things, really.
But I guess going to Ramen Fury, I do believe that whilst it doesn't do anything new, I think that that was actually a really well-designed game. And it's not like my favorite game in the world, but if I would definitely give it a solid 1 thumb up on my rating scale of like, it goes from 1 thumb down to -2.
Okay.
So it's a 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a 5-point scale. So they get like,
that's reasonably high.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, I haven't actually played Ramen Fury, so I didn't know if it was a good game or not. But I mean, there's loads of games that you see that are like cat themed or whatever themed that you can tell are just kind of, it's kind of because this person likes this thing. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be nice to maybe start winding down at this point and talking about how we think that our own Christmas 2020 is going to happen. And for those in the comments, again, if you haven't already, let us know. Tell us, do you celebrate Christmas? Do you normally do something special for Christmas? And do you have any plans for Christmas? I know that for sure, Loozapalooza are saying that they're going to have a big Christmas stream going on with the people who've got this community going on. And I think there's been a couple of other folk who've suggested they might do like a big, long, extended thing over the holidays. But yeah, what are you going to do? And yeah, Jess.
Well, I am going to be here for Christmas. So I'm not traveling to Wales to visit my family like I normally do. So I'm going to be right here in this very room for Christmas. And my boyfriend is spending Christmas with me. His family are in the Caribbean, and he normally goes over to the Caribbean for Christmas, but obviously that's not possible this year. So we're having Christmas here, just the two of us, which will be really different because normally my Christmas is 10 to 20 people, very noisy, all different ages and stuff. So going from that to us two and the dog is going to be, feel really strange. But I'm going to do Zoom chats in the morning with my family. So maybe we'll watch my nephews and nieces opening their presents and just catch up and play some games maybe online. And then in the evening time, we will have a Zoom chat with my partner's family over in the Caribbean to catch up with them for time zones. And we're going to cook a big meal and, overeat, as is tradition for both of us. And then we're going to meet up with some friends and go for a walk with the dog because one of my friends has got a dog as well. So we're going to do a socially distanced walk with them. But and that's my Christmas Day plans, really.
And Runa says they already love your dog.
He's being such a good boy. He's a sleepy boy today. See if Django, do you want to come say hi? Come on. You want to come up? He's very tired. Ready? Hop. Here we go. This is Django. Are you a good boy? Are you? Always annoyed. He's tired. Want to go to bed? Good boy.
Oh, such a...
Wow, very obedient.
He's a very good boy. Yes, and that's Django. And you spelt it correctly as well with a D. So but yeah, he's a bit tired today. We went on a big walk yesterday at lunchtime. We're trying to do lunchtime walks so it's not too dark and cold. But yeah.
For our Christmas, we're not quite sure yet. Okay, we live with a short drive from both our daughters and their families, but we're not quite sure. Well, we're taking into account what's allowed or what might be allowed, but we're also taking into account our own view of what we should do. So we're not exactly sure. Now we're hoping a few days before Christmas that Charlie and I at least will go away for a bit of a walking holiday for a couple of days, so that'll be quite good. And we were hoping to be able to have Jen with us for that as well. But again, we're not sure quite how that will work. So it's a bit up in the air. For Christmas, we've got this crazy idea with the food that each of the 3 families will, using appropriate COVID safe measures, cook part of the meal. so we'll cook the turkey, and Vic and Lee will do the some vegetables, and Jen will do puddings and stuff like that. And then we'll divide each into 3 packs, and then we'll drive between the houses and swap meals, so that we end up making up the meal from the 3 components. You see, that's the idea. And then we can eat the meal together over Zoom or Discord. So it will be kind of weird, but we think that will probably work, and I think we can do that in a very safe way. So it won't be the same as all getting together in one house, but that may well be the way we decide to do it. I mean,
that sounds really great. I got to say, that sounds like a really good 2020 solution to it. Yeah,
I think so. Because it only takes us about 10 minutes or so to get from us to Vicky's. So Jen's about 10 minutes south, and we're about 10 minutes north. So we all haven't got a very long drive. So the coordination is at least feasible, which is nice.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah. Looking forward to that. And we may end up playing the odd short board game.
Good.
Well, yeah, because that's the idea, isn't it? Really, do something.
Yeah. I mean, Alan says that they are looking forward to a very quiet Christmas. They will watch Scrooge the Musical, a brilliant film apart from the ending. Bah humbug.
And that's the true meaning of Christmas, isn't it? Scaring rich people into giving poor people their money.
That is the true message, actually.
That it's all about terrorism. It's literally terrifying, Scrooge into
not being a horrible person.
Yeah. I mean, that's so.
Yeah, no, you're right.
In the nicest possible way.
I still don't know. I think that it's. So I've got 3 siblings, for those who don't know. One is in the UK, one is in Germany with a family, one is in Australia with a family. And we still don't know. It's likely that we might meet I'm still trying to work out. I still don't know. There's still a bit of uncertainty. I might be able to go and meet my family. I might not. Yep, I do not know. And in a way, I'm not a person who deals well with uncertainty. I do like plans. I do like knowledge. It might be part of the reason why. I was playing this game solo yesterday, and then I got halfway through, and I was like, part of it was that I was a bit tired, but I could clearly see what was the optimal position for everything. It was just that cards were coming up in the wrong order. So then I'm not able to say, okay, was my management of this particular card order, was that good or bad? And I like to go through a game and have some idea of whether I've done a good or bad job. And when I'm not smart enough to work out what the best possible score is, if you know what I mean, like the best possible score you could get in the worst possible run of luck. But that would be the kind of thing that I would like them to say, okay, this is good, this is like, and yeah, I feel like, and I said this about some other game that I think it was Imperial Settlers, Roll and Write, that I just hate the difficulty of a solo game being so highly determined by the order of the cards. And I know this is maybe slightly weird because, all of these solo LDEC games, if you get, there's 23 cards without any vowels, And if you get all 23 of those in a string, for sure, that will scupper your score by quite a bit. But
how likely is that?
It's a lot less. If you anyway,
that's the nature of cards, isn't it? To an extent. I mean, I'm doing with Kingmaker. It's the same. If you don't get, I mean, in the classic Kingmaker, if you don't get a good variety of cards in your initial deal, you can have a bad experience. Now I'm doing things about that, but if you still want to play classic Kingmaker with that completely random deal, you have to accept the fact that sometimes when you start the game, you're only going to get one noble, which is really usually a pretty bad start.
And the truth is that
if you can accept the variation and the randomization, then I think you can have a good game. If you want to play like that but don't accept the fact that that can happen, you're probably playing the wrong game. I think.
I mean, I've not played Kingmaker to be able to comment. I mean, you know that I've decided that for whatever reason, online games really aren't my thing, which is why I've not really played with you this lockdown. Cheap Sheep Games says Kingmaker is great. Have you tried Alan Paull's new version? Are you part of my Discord, Cheap Sheep Games? Because Alan Paull, if you want to share a link there, please do so, because Alan, I know, you're always looking for more playtesters.
I'm very happy to have more playtesters. I've got over 50 already. So I mean,
wow.
I'm not actively looking, but if anybody else wants to join in, that's absolutely not a problem. This is the original. There's a couple of other games called Kingmaker. This is the old Avalon Hill Gibson's Aerial Filmar TM games Kingmaker set in the Wars of the Roses. First came out in 1974. There are other Kingmaker games.
And the Discord channel, just go to stuffwithbeds.com/Discord, and that will redirect you to my Discord. Anyway, it's all on Tabletopia, and Alan will talk to you about that, unless you've got a quick link that you want to share right now. But yeah, as we go into what games would work well online, I mean, that's almost a topic in and of itself, but you've got the digital versions like Tabletopia, Tabletop Simulator, but if you want to be a wee bit more relaxed, maybe Board Game Arena allows it to take care of a few more things for you, like that. Oh shoot, Reiner Knizia game, buying properties, selling properties. Reminds me of the name. For Sale, that's the one.
Oh right, my brain was going blank for a second there, so I'm glad you got there.
I've got a wee thing that I will post in Twitch, and but yeah, Joy For Sale, and yeah, this kind of thing you can play there. You can play multiplayer solitaire, like roll and write stuff quite well. You can play some party-ish games like Giftable. For myself, that works quite well online. I'm going to try out a new game tonight at 8 p.m. because every Tuesday 8 p.m. is a thing, and it's going to be loosely inspired by Two Truths and a Lie, where basically just say one thing about yourself, and it's either a lie or it's a truth, and everyone gets to ask you questions for a couple of minutes and then has to say whether it's a lie or a truth. And that is pretty much the entire game. A point if you're correct, a point if you manage to fool more than half the people. And yeah, but how can, talking specifically about holidays rather than games that we could play online, if you're not actually able to meet other people, how can we maintain a festive, joyous spirit? Do you have any closing tips for us?
Well, you could visit meetmaxgames.com/reindeer games and sign up for your free copy of Reindeer Games, which is a free digital board game, which is holiday themed, Bears.
That is definitely something that you could do.
What we have found actually using Discord, this is not about playing games. We put one of our tables sideways on to a camera, so we can eat our meal and be seen by everybody. So if everybody does that, it at least simulates in a way everybody eating together. So rather than just sitting in front of the camera like we do now, you can't see the meal I've got or anything. If we have a table with two of us, we have a table, we sit opposite each other, and we actually have the camera pointing down at the table. So you can at least see that we are eating real turkey, etc. And that we found, we've done that a couple of times now. We did that for our post Essen Caravana virtual meal, didn't we, Bez? And I thought that worked pretty well. So that's a good tip. Make sure that people can see more of you and can see you actually with your meal. And that's good. It feels more homely. It feels more like you're doing the eating together.
Yeah. Outside games not being a shameless plug for once for me. One thing my family's doing is my nephews and nieces are going to do a little Christmas performance. They're going to sing some songs and play on the piano, and we're going to do that via Zoom. So that's a nice little festive thing they're going to do. So because my nephew, he's been learning the piano, and my niece likes to sing.
Those sounds like delightful things, and Alan, I definitely agree that whole post Essen meal was wonderful. And I think whether we are physically together or whether we are together online, I think it just reminds us that we can be together in some manner, if you know what I mean. And we can still emotionally, spiritually, we can be at least together and shared at times, share those experiences, and still have a meaningful time together. This is pretty much the time when I say, well, we talked about so much. We talked about all sorts of annual traditions, bringing your family together, how brilliant they are. We talked about, at least in the UK, why Christmas is so commercial, and it makes sense for publishers to try to tap into that, to say, yes, not you're buying a game right now. Well, here's a specifically Christmas-themed board game, when frankly lots of people might not be playing it at other times of year. And so everyone here does have strong emotional attachment to Christmas, but we are based in countries which came from a very much a Christian background, and we are not ourselves Christian necessarily, but I think all three of us said that specifically we are not. But whether you are or whether you are not, you can share in that time, and it is just the way that it is. And we could talk about that kind of okay, if I wanted to put it really unkindly, I could say that in some ways it's cultural colonialism, that back in the days. But the fact that on the other hand, we do have this shared moment, hopefully people can appreciate it. And whatever time of year you do enjoy, and I think this has been, let's be honest, fairly about Christmas themed board games, because when people, it's not just about the holidays, because Hanukkah doesn't have the same baggage. Hanukkah doesn't have the same gift giving and the same dominance in our society that Christmas has. And so there's a reason that we might see Santa on a sleigh, but there's no Hanukkah thing that was specifically Hanukkah themed, as far as I'm aware, in Snowdonia.
I think that is correct, although I haven't checked.
I mean, I would hope that you'd be aware of it.
I should be aware. I did look through them all.
I think it's like you say, Bez. Sometimes you share and you talk about what you know, and if you're from a culture where it's Christmas and Santa and those are your cultural touch points, that's what you'll share. But equally, I love learning and hearing about other people and the way they celebrate and do things. So, you know.
Yeah, and there is the Hanukkah armadillo. It is a genuine thing. And so there could be games there are already some games themed around Hanukkah, but there could be a Hanukkah armadillo promo card.
To be fair, this isn't really, I mean, yes, it's only Christmassy because for some weird reason we associate
it's Santa
flying
Claus,
reindeer and
Father Christmas. It might not be part of the original intent, but
it's a lot. There's a lot of mixed up thinking in all of that, isn't there? And that's what cultural traditions are about. They're about.
Well, it's a mixing of all sorts of things. I think most cultures have some sort of festival in the winter where everybody meets up and eats a lot of things. That's like a common thing that humans do. So as time's gone by and cultures have mixed and combined, we've just grabbed bits we've liked and it's become this thing that we have, but it's all grown out of different things. So, but most cultures have a winter festival and celebration of some sort. And like most have something in the spring as well. So it's just a thing that we do as humans.
And for sure, that's what I mean by this cultural colonialism, that, it's taking over that pagan holiday. And anyway, the point is that
exactly.
We talked about
little fat bears.
How you can have original games for Christmas, or a promo thing for Christmas, or a new version of a thing that's okay, maybe this is winter themed, but that winter themed, it wouldn't work at all for Australian Christmas, where Christmas is the hottest time of the year. And
they still have snow and stuff on their Christmas cards, though. My family's from there, and all the Christmas themed things still have that look, even though for them it's the middle of summer. It's just the Christmas brand, I guess.
And I know a few people who are just saying, we're annoyed that everything is so Northern Hemisphere centric. I know that's not true of everyone, but it's true of enough people. But we talked about all these things. We talked about how it can be a gimmick, it can be a turn off. And I think that concludes the wrap up. If you want to find me, I'm stuffwithbez.com, stuffwithbez.bigcards.com, where you can buy my stuff, buy PNP versions of something. It's half price. Twitter.com/stuffwithbez, Instagram.com/stuffwithbez, Twitch.tv/stuffwithbez, where I'll be doing more streaming, 10 a.m. UK time every day and 8 p.m. tonight. YouTube.com/c/stuffwithbez for the old episodes, and stuffwithbez.com/discord. Go there. There's a cat chat. You can talk about games. You can talk about more stuff about this episode, whatever you like, within the normal things. And hello, Gemma, who's just popped in. I'm sorry, we are right now wrapping up. I am sorry to do this, but we do have to wrap up at some time. And I want to say thank you to everyone who has joined in. And I want to give a shout out to everyone who's been here. So Jess, how would you like to be found?
All the lovely links you provided there, Bez. So you can find me on social media as Tabletop Jess. If you go to EM Publishing RPG, that's the company I work for. We do lots of different products for Dungeons and Dragons, and we've got our Presents for Goblins game on Kickstarter now live. Meet Max Games. If you would like a free digital board game for the holidays, I will give you that. You just have to visit meetmacgames.com/reindeer games, sign up there, and then I'll send you your board game for the 21st. And I also work for Long Pack Games, the board game manufacturer, as well.
And Alan, where do you most likely to be found?
I'm mostly Alan at surprisedaygames.co.uk on email, which isn't actually there. Never mind. And I'm Bentham Fish on various games platforms like Board Game Arena and Yucata. I'm not a very great Twitter user, but you can try and find me on twitter.com, benthamfish, or Surprise Dare. But mainly I am mainly Alan at surprisedaygames.co.uk or Alan at alanpaul.co.uk.
and Ellie, who was here earlier. That's their website, thedarkimp.com. They are quite active on Twitter as Ellie Dix Tweets, and you can see a bunch of stuff on their YouTube channel, which is clickable. And yes, so for future, if you want to join me for a future chats, if you want to join on video, get in touch. Stuffbybez.com/guests is a redirect to the info sheet, but it is booked up for a couple of weeks. Yeah, I don't normally do this, but yeah, shout out if you want to chat about a particular board game topic, feel free to get in touch. I do have a forthcoming schedule, and you can check out that schedule via stuffbybez.com/streams. But very, very quickly, I want to say again, thank you, everyone. Quickly, over to you. What are you up to? You can share something if you want to, because I feel bad without doing that. And so share something just for the next 1 minute. Anyone from the audience, what are you up to? And I hope that you can feel free to, even if you don't have something in mind that you want to share with us, just think about, what am I doing? What do I want to do today? And I hope that you have something that you can look forward to. Please share, spread the word. If you are on Twitch, stick around for a raid. And I do, while we're waiting for people to share anything final, what would you like to share? Alan.
Me? Oh, sorry.
Or Jess.
Oh, right. that worked. Not. Yeah, I'm well. What would I like to share? My problem is I'm really fixated on the redeveloping of Kingmaker. So I'm going back to that. I'm doing classic Kingmaker rules writing this afternoon.
Boom. Jess, what's your 5-second thing?
Reindeer Games. meetmattgames.com/reindeer games. Visit that for your free game.
And Categorical will be coming soon. And determined to finish the book I'm reading tonight, says Hal. I'll be signing up for a free reindeer game, says Alan in chat. It is so nice of me, Max Games, to offer this. And working from home. Hopefully we'll be able to work on some homebrew games. And I hope that everyone has some, exciting things to look forward to. And for now, that is the end. Love you all. And bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to